This video is brought to you by Tidbit. Now, since the Galaxy S23 has reached its 6-month anniversary, I can say that I'm really proud that it's held up its great reputation for being a powerful, solid, and overall really great device. Now, I've had some pretty cool adventures with the Galaxy S23, from hiking up in the mountains with it, to bringing it to Vegas with me, all the way to going on very long periods of time where I used it as my daily phone. And I'm very glad that the Galaxy S23 learned from the mistakes of the Galaxy S22 and became a phone that I can truly rely on. And if you are someone who is looking to get the Galaxy S23, or you want to weigh your options since the iPhone 15 is coming up, then I think you're in the right park. In my honest opinion, if you're looking for a phone that will give you an amazing experience and is truly worth that $800 to $900 price tag, then the Galaxy S23 is a great option, especially since during this time, it should be going on sale very often. And even though I love my Galaxy S23 and have been pointing out many of its great improvements from the year before, I won't shy away from its shortcomings. And even though it does have some minor shortcomings, these are the first topics of discussion when discussing how the S23 holds up after 6 months of use. Now, when I say shortcomings, I'm not really talking about anything that's completely wrong during my use with the Galaxy S23, but instead, these are some minor improvements that I really feel will make it worth that $800 price tag. And the reason I chose shortcomings instead of actual problems is because the problems that I have go all across the S23 lineup, and instead of regurgitating the same thing over and over, I want to give my input on what I think could make these lower flagship phones better. Now, we all know that the Galaxy S23 Ultra is Samsung's pride and joy. They put all of the great specs into it, but at the end of the day, what this means is that the S23 and S23 Plus will be getting cheated out of some of the needed improvements as well. Now, the first shortcoming that I noticed with the Galaxy S23 is something that pretty much is commonly known, and that's the fact that they only put a 1080p display on it instead of a 1440. Now, this is a shortcoming for a few reasons, but the main reason being that this phone is too expensive for that. There are many phones on the market right now that you can get for $500 to $700 that will easily have a 1080p 120Hz display. And even though this isn't the best phone that Samsung has on the market, it is still considered a flagship phone, and I believe that these are basic components when making a screen for a flagship. If the phone costs more than $800, the display should be top tier. 1080p isn't top quality anymore, and I feel like 1440 should have replaced it 2 years ago. And even though it's nice to have an always-on display, it's nothing compared to a good old display that you can put on your desk, countertop, or nightstand. And that's why I recommend Tidbit. Now, Tidbit is an LED display that is specifically designed to make your life easier. It has the ability to cycle through different apps, has a beautiful wood finish that can go with any home decor, and is very customizable, so you can truly make it your own. It's also very easy to set up. Once you get your Tidbit, all you have to do is unbox it, plug it up, download the Tidbit app, and from there, you can select any application that you would like to show on your display. And you have so many different apps that show you many different sports ranging from baseball, football, basketball, F1, and many more. You also have many different cool miscellaneous apps like the ability to look at the stock market, see the air quality of the city that you live in, read news articles, and even make it your own scoreboard when you're playing a game of foosball and you want to keep score. And it doesn't stop there. It offers many fun animations that can trigger your nostalgia. And of course, you have many clock styles that you can choose based on your preference. And there's just so many different applications. Right here, you can see that there are dozens that I haven't touched on and dozens more that get added every month. There's no membership. You can add as many applications as you like and it will circle through them all. You can also change the speed, brightness, and use night mode all from the app. And if you would like to purchase a Tidbit, the link will be down in the description and comment section of today's video. And again, I want to thank Tidbit for sponsoring today's video. Now, the next shortcoming is something that many of us tech nerds and Samsung fans have been complaining about for a few years now. And that's the fact that the S23 only supports 25-watt fast charging. Now, this is pretty interesting because as the years progressed, there have been many phones that have gone up from 45-watt fast charging to 65 watts and even 80 watts and up. But for some reason, when it comes to charging, Samsung has continued to stay stagnant despite them always leading the pack in innovation. Now, the only thing with this shortcoming is that I can kind of understand it because everything that happened with the Galaxy Note 7. But if you can put 45 watts on the S23 Ultra, I feel like it wouldn't be much to bump up the S23 and S23 Plus to 45 watts and maybe bump up the Ultra series to 65. And I feel like companies now have much more knowledge when it comes to safely bumping up wattage without anything blowing up. And it would be nice to see Samsung try something different in this department. And now that I've listed all of the major shortcomings of the Galaxy S23, I wanted to give you some more minor shortcomings and problems that I face with it. Now, just like every other Android known to man, the social media optimization is still very weak when compared to the iPhone, and this is 100% intentional from the app developers. Now, for some reason, they've made all their apps specifically for the iPhone, which means that you get better looking videos and pictures when you take pictures from the native app. With the S23, you will get less options when it comes to quote-unquote Twitter blue. Your pictures and videos won't look as great from the social media cameras, and the fonts don't look as clean and crisp. Android Auto is still a problem for me. They have fixed it to where you can use your phone while using the GPS, but the apps still look outdated. It's still doesn't support a majority of Samsung apps, and it still needs a major update to catch up to Apple CarPlay. And the last problem is something that I feel can be fixed, but it might be annoying to do. And that's the Samsung keyboard. See, I often mess up on letters when I'm typing on it. Emojis are harder to access than other apps. And if you're like me and have a problem with the Samsung keyboard, you can just use the Google keyboard, which is much better and simple. So now that we've talked about the quote unquote negatives of the S23, let's talk about some positives. Now with my Galaxy S23, I love how whenever I'm gaming, using the phone on a hot summer's day, and even using it from my home, it only overheated on me 3 times, which is severely less than the Galaxy S22. The Snapdragon Gen 2 chip is a very big improvement, and I'm glad that Samsung was able to capitalize on it before it became a problem that lasted generations. As you can see, gaming on the S23 after 6 months of use, I didn't get any lags. The whole operating system is well optimized for games like Asphalt 9 and Call of Duty, and the device is compact, so it's nothing to take it out and get a quick game in. Now whenever I'm using the display, the whole experience has been extremely smooth and sleek. Apps fit into the 6.1-inch display nicely, and I would say that when compared to the S23 Plus or Ultra, it does look the sharpest. Everything ranging from social media, productivity apps, and scrolling through the OS felt really good. Reaching all the way to the top was much easier than the bigger S23 Plus and Ultra, which made it much easier to use since I could pretty much do everything on it without having to extend my fingers. And it has a great thickness to it while also feeling slim, which gives it a premium feel that feels great yet light in the hand. And the 120Hz refresh rate is as good as any top tier phone. This is also one of the better phones in terms of feel whenever I'm not using a case. Also, Samsung phones are very durable when compared to the iPhone or Pixel, which means that they'll withstand more severe drops and have better scratch resistance. Multitasking was very easy to use and had the most options out of any Android phone. I didn't get hiccups or lags with it, and the text within well-optimized apps looked very sharp. Battery life was much better than last year. I mainly use social media apps, play games, and watched a lot of YouTube on it, and I was able to last for a good amount of time without having to use my portable charger or turn on power saving mode. On the average day, I'm getting 3 to 5 hours of battery life, and when in my days with about 10 to 15% on average, some days my phone will be even higher, but that was when I used less power heavy apps. I didn't cut any corners, I had 5G on the whole time. I rarely use power saving mode, my brightness was on medium to high, and I use my phone in light mode during the day and night mode at night, so you can get better results if you take those extra steps to save battery. Now moving on to camera, the Galaxy S23 is arguably the best in its price range. The Pixel 7 is better, but that's just my opinion. It's also pretty good on the spec sheet. 50 megapixel main camera with a 10 megapixel telephoto and 12 megapixel ultra wide. The outside photos look really good. The vibrancy of different objects and nature was some of the most impressive things that I've seen on a smartphone camera. And no matter the weather or circumstance of how it looked outside, the pictures never failed to disappoint. Selfies weren't the best when compared to the Pixel 7, but they were still pretty good. The skin lightening is still an issue across the S23 lineup, and the S23 was no different. But if I were to show anyone one of my selfies, I still think that it takes a good selfie since the skin lightening has improved despite it not being completely fixed. Inside photos were really good. Whenever I got into the position of really good lighting, this is where the camera outdid itself. And even when the lighting wasn't the best, the camera software was able to produce some really good pictures. Night photos are really sharp yet vibrant, which gives them that nicely enhanced feel. My selfies in the nighttime looked okay. Different objects in nature looked really good, and I was very satisfied with Samsung's night mode. And now looking at videos, the S23 is able to shoot up to 8K at 60 frames per second, and I was impressed all the way through. The colors were sharp, there wasn't any loudness in the background, and the stabilization was really good. Pretty much on par with any other top tier smartphone camera out there. And alright you guys, that's it for my review on the Galaxy S23. It's a really great phone that despite its shortcomings, managed to be the best phone in its price range. And I'm very happy that Samsung was able to redeem the regular S series because the S22 was a huge disappointment. So if you are deciding to get the Galaxy S23, then I think I and many other reviewers have told you enough about how great it is. And again, it goes on sale very often, which can make your decision even easier. Or harder if you're waiting for the new Pixel or iPhone to compare. And let me know down in the comments, do you guys think that the Galaxy S23 will be better than the Pixel 8 and iPhone 15? Let me know. And again, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace.